Hello, friend, and welcome to Inside the Dark. Thank you for joining me. A New Hampshire mother of 3 young children took the lives of 2 of them, along with her husbands, in their home in Madbury, after posting a long TikTok video about how wonderful a husband he was to her and how obsessed she was with him. Emily Long is said to have posted a number of videos on her now private TikTok account about how her husband was battling brain cancer and her own struggles with depression before she ended 3 of their lives, then took her own, leaving her 3-year-old son alive in the home with their bodies. Police say they believe she shot her husband Ryan Long and children 8-year-old Parker and 6-year-old daughter, also named Ryan, and herself in the early morning hours of August 18th. But they didn't start receiving 911 calls from family members until almost 8:30 that evening, meaning their 3-year-old child was left alone in their home with the dead bodies of his parents and siblings all day long before he was found. In one of Emily's TikTok videos, she talked about how she feared being alone without her husband if he were to pass away from his cancer. But she left her 3-year-old helpless in their home, alone, with 4 dead bodies. Why she spared his young life, but took the lives of her other 2 children, is unknown, and has left all who loved their family in complete and utter shock.
It's tragic.
Tragic, heartbreaking, unimaginable, and most of all, sad.
It's just a sad, sad thing.
Words that describe how people feel following the murder-suicide of the Long family inside their Madbury home on Monday.
Is certainly a shock, that's obvious, and saddened and trying and coming together to support each other as it goes forward.
The Attorney General's office says Emily Long shot and killed her husband and 2 children. Over the last few weeks, she had been very open on social media, specifically TikTok, sharing videos talking about her husband's struggle with brain cancer.
And my husband passed away from the same cancer, that brain cancer.
In her most recent post, Emily Long talked about taking steps to support her kids and her own health and well-being.
988 is available 24/7.
Mental health experts say it's always important to have a conversation with someone you suspect is struggling.
You want to ask directly what's going on, how they're feeling, and ask directly if they're thinking about harming themselves. The reality is you're not going to give someone the idea, but you may have a real opportunity to help them access crisis care.
Investigators in New Hampshire have now identified the man, woman, and 2 children who appear to have died in a murder-suicide. They were found in a home in the town of Madbury yesterday. A toddler in that house was the only survivor. WBZ's Louisa Moeller is live in Madbury with what we have learned today. Louisa?
Well, Lisa, first of all, neighbors tell me this is the kind of neighborhood where you have kids toddling along, learning how to ride their bike right in the middle of the street. Just last week, this family had a lemonade stand here. This is a gut punch. Now, investigators say they have talked to people, quote, up and down the seacoast to look into what happened here. It appears to be a murder-suicide.
Not sure we could have done anything different, right?
Neighbors on Mehariment Drive went to bed in shock and woke up with questions. As crime scene tape wrapped around a nearby home and detectives walked out with evidence boxes, a place where just last week, kids ran a lemonade stand.
It's just that kind of, I don't know, idyllic summer day, and then this, right? How does it go from that to this?
Police came to this Madbury, New Hampshire home for a 911 call Monday night and found a gut-wrenching scene. 4 members of a family dead with gunshot wounds, now identified as 48-year-old Ryan Long, his wife, 34-year-old Emily Long, and their 2 kids, 8-year-old Parker and 6-year-old Ryan. A gun nearby. A third child, a 3-year-old, was found unharmed. Investigators now looking into the possibility it was a murder-suicide.
That's based upon the physical evidence. That's also based upon some other evidence that we've learned with regards to just information that you get from doing a neighborhood canvass, trying to do some background of individuals and find out what was going on inside the home.
The impact on the people who live here is already immense. Ryan Long was a psychologist for the nearby Oyster River School District.
When their daughter came by, my daughter basically gave her dolls, and those were precious times in our life when my daughter enjoyed her American Girl dolls, and so sad to think that that little girl's gone.
The family's 2 dogs now in the care of a neighborhood dog walker.
I just told a friend of mine it's the worst thing that I've ever dealt with in my life.
As the news spreads, so does the grief. Community members from the school dropped off flowers at the foot of the family's driveway.
Just to show how devastating this is for so many people.
2 major pieces of information that we're able to share tonight. The first is that autopsies were conducted today on all 4 family members. And in doing that, both the Associate Medical Examiner, Dr. Alexander, as well as the Chief Medical Examiner, Dr. Duvall, were able to come to conclusions on what the cause and the manner of everyone's death was. The cause and manner of death for both of the children was a single gunshot wounds of the head, and that the manner of death was homicide. Homicide meaning that this was an injury that was inflicted by another. Now, the cause and manner of death for Mr. Ryan Long, that was multiple gunshot wounds, and the manner of death was homicide. Separate from that, the cause of death for Emily Long was a single gunshot wound of the head, and the manner of death is suicide, and that is an action taken against oneself. So that is 3 separate homicides. In addition, investigators have been able to announce that we've been able to determine the time period of when this occurred. It was roughly on Monday morning, a little bit after 5:30 in the morning.
Is there any idea at this point, a motive or why this happened?
Motives, I think, in a situation like this are always very, very tricky. Try not to identify any one particular stressor. Certainly, investigators are aware of several different stressors that have been reported and that they've been taking information on. Some that involved the idea of what was going on with the money situation, another one with the health situation. I think the big thing is to try not to speculate that there's any one reason like something like this would happen. Sometimes it is, but often it is not. It's very, very difficult to try to discern that. So while investigators are going to be listening to more information, I don't know that we're ever truly going to get the cause.
This is a story that has seriously impacted this community. I mean, we have been speaking to people since Monday. People are writing, distraught to hear this news. I mean, can you just talk a little bit about that impact working on something like this?
I think the impact for the community it's just trauma. It's absolute trauma. And these are people who knew, and people may often be saying to themselves, I didn't see this coming, I didn't know. Sometimes these events are very hard, but if somebody does see an indicator of anyone in crisis, there's so many different ways. Dialing 988 in New Hampshire will immediately get people to assistance that they might need. For the investigators that are working on it, the men and women in New Hampshire State Police, Medical Examiner's Office, Madbury Police Department, for all of them, I think it's something that they do have to take it one moment at a time, and they have to remain being professional. They're human beings, but they also have to maintain that professionalism in how they do the work. And it's tough, but they are very professional.
Thank you for that. I want to go back a little bit to the timeline. So
Certainly.
At this point, investigators have found that this happened in the morning on Monday.
That's correct.
But we know that the 4 bodies were not discovered until later on in the day. Can you kind of just walk me through as much as you can of those timestamps?
A lot of that time in between are things that we're still working on. But we do know, again, from some independent evidence that we've collected, that we are having gunfire and that this event occurs in a short time period, right at 5:30 in the morning. And you're correct, it's not until 8:20 that there are individuals who are over to try to make contact with people and end up calling 911. During that time period, what's happening inside the home, that's a big unknown right now.
So just to be clear, the reason that investigators showed up at this home in the first place was because there were several 911 calls made, is that correct?
Yeah, there were multiple 911 calls made at just about the exact same time from individuals who were trying to contact the family, and in doing so went to the home and then called 911.
Gotcha, okay. At this point, is there anything you can tell us about the other child who was found in the home? We know that that child is now with family, but anything else?
The child now being with family is in that sort of environment, back trying to, and through DCYF being put into a safe environment. But with regards to that, I don't have any more details on how that child is doing. I'm sure that family is just hugging and kissing him right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else you can share about what happens next with this investigation? I'm assuming that this is still active and...
It still will remain active for right now. In terms of, there's still more information that we're trying to gather to narrow down different things, but it's when we knew what the cause and manner was and when we know who the individual was that took the actions, that's at the stage when we have this confidence that we're able to go ahead and make that announcement. We didn't want to hold off on that precisely for the same reasons that you said, Imani, the impact on the community and to be able to get them those answers.
Anything else you think people should know about this?
I can't think of anything in particular. Sorry.
Well,
is this the first time in New Hampshire history you've had a case like this where a woman did this?
Where a woman took family members' lives or multiple family members' lives, it is not. There have been other matters, even in my time here, where that has happened, and where one family member was alive and other ones were not. So no, I can't say it's the first time. It's incredibly rare. I can only think of one other instance.
No, anything else?
Just anything else you want to share about the family, if you could?
I don't have much more on the family. I know they've been notified about these results today, just like everybody else.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Inside the Dark. Take care, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, where I'll be waiting to take you back inside the dark.